Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you are listening from, whenever you pop us on your YouTube, your X, your Spotify, your Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. We are the Clashing Conferences Network. This is our rotating members group. We are back for another great week. We got three of us, myself, Kyle, and Trey on the docket for tonight. Say hello, gentlemen.
What's
What
going
up? What
on?
up?
Before we get too far into it, we got to shout out our sponsors. So first shout out, if you are in the Lancaster, PA area and you need a haircut, see Lean at Sparrow Hair Studios. Tell her that you are a member of the Clashing Conferences Network and she will hook you up. Secondly, if you are in need of custom oversized hype game chains, visit Lotwin. Lotwin, use code TCC Pod for 10% off your first order. I know I have one. I know Topher's got one. A few other people told me they're ordering theirs soon, so shout out to them. And lastly, shout out to This Day in Philly Sports, Jim Montgomery, who is a personal friend of the pod and helping us out. So with all that said, gentlemen, let's get right to it. You Philly boys, tell me how big of a snub this is for Trey Turner not to be on the All-Star roster.
Trey,
That's
I'm letting you lead
terrible.
it off, buddy. You share the name, so go ahead.
I mean, I'm actually kind of at a loss for words. I mean, I know defensively right now he's a liability defensively, but he hits the ball. How is he not an all-star at least offensively? I just don't understand.
I mean, here's my take on it. He did start off a little sluggish, but he's the NL leader in hits. His ranks among shortstops in the major leagues, not just the NL, but in the major leagues, is like top three in almost every offensive category. So to leave him off, I just didn't really understand it. Having said that, I hate to admit it, but Lindor's having a great year, so Lindor did deserve it, right? And he did deserve to get the start. Last year was a little shaky too because Lindor got snubbed and Trey Turner got in over him. So, I can see these guys battling back and forth like for the next couple of years like this. But yeah, I definitely think he was snubbed. Ranger Suarez to me was probably snubbed and left off the list as a starter in some capacity. I mean, the dude's been lights out for 10 straight games. He's had 10 straight quality starts. I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, granted, I think what hurt him was the fact that he was on the injured list till middle of May, right? So, but still, I mean, 10 straight quality starts. It's just insane to me. So, I, it is what it is. I mean, the rest of the team, I honestly don't think that there was a lot more snubs as Philly fans. I mean, Trey was probably the biggest one. You could argue Ranger, even Christopher Sanchez to a certain point, but definitely Ranger. But yeah, Trey should have gotten in, but I could see injuries happen or people not playing and Trey still getting the nod somehow. But see what happens.
I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
don't understand how you oversee his offensive numbers league wide.
no,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think my point that I was going to make is like, I don't know how you feel personally. I think that the way they do All Star should be flipped. I think that it should be like 75% picked managerial wise and then 25% fan vote. I think the fan vote being the majority for the starters makes things skewed off. And like there's guys that like fine, they're having okay years, like in the American League. Like I think Jazz Chisholm's a fine player. Like I think he's a good ball player, but I don't know if he's an American League starter at, you know, second base or third base, wherever he got selected. Like so that to me is kind of where it is. Like you look at guys like, and then the second thing that I don't know if you guys have a problem with, but how do you feel about the one all-star from every team? Like, because there's guys like Kyle Stowers who got picked for the Marlins because they needed somebody to get picked, but then you leave James Woods or Juan Soto off the list because, Kyle Stowers gets picked. So I don't know. Tell me what you kind of feel about those two things.
Go ahead,
I've
Kyle.
always I've always not liked the every team has to be represented idea. Because to me that's not really an all-star game. That's a participation trophy for a lot of these teams that don't deserve it, right? So like look, do the Rockies have an all-star on their team? Sure, right? There's a couple quality guys on their team, even though they're the worst team in the majors. To your point, the Marlins probably didn't need to have a guy. right? And you left Soto off, who's been ripping the ball for the last month and a half. Now, granted, he had a slow start, so maybe that played into it too. I don't know. I don't like the idea that every team gets a guy. I really don't. I've never liked it. I've never liked it since I was a kid. I just never understood it. I don't understand why they do that. I also, to me, a lot of these, like a lot of all stars can play multiple positions. So in my head, you always take, like, think about this when you're playing backyard baseball, backyard football, whatever it is. You want the 10 best players on your team, right? Regardless of position, you'll make it work. That's how the All-Star game should be, in my opinion. You know what I mean? All sports should be that way. You take the top 20 players from each league, and that's how it should be, and you make it work. Now, pitchers are obviously different and stuff like that, but I mean, Trey Turner could play second base. He could play shortstop. You know, like you just brought up Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm can play pretty much every infield position. So some of these guys are very set in their positions, but they're selected. Outfielders are selected as outfielders. They're not necessarily a left fielder, a right fielder, or a center fielder. You know, so I just I do hate the fact that it's a participation trophy at that point where every team has to be represented. You know, I liked it back when in the '90s when the Phillies sucked because I knew the Phillies always had a representation in the All-Star game. But you know, now that they don't suck as much and they usually have a All-Star that deserves it, I don't like it as much.
It should be a legit all-star game, not a popularity contest, is what all sports are. Um, I actually kind of like that idea, Kyle, of just taking the best 20, I'll say, athletes in the AL, NL, and just play a pickup game. You're voted the best athletes by your peers, managers, fans, whatever. Play a pickup game. Pitchers, obviously different, but that's a good idea. I like that.
Well,
Yeah,
and Patty, you brought up a great point with the fan vote. So Ronald Acuna just came back like 3 weeks ago, right? A little over a month, maybe. And he got selected to the All-Star game because of the fan vote, right? I'm not saying that he's not one of the best players, but he's even competing in the home run derby and he has 9 home runs. So like, what are we doing at that point? You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, yeah, they're perennial all-stars and they should be because they're that good, but if they're injured, they shouldn't be voted to an All-Star game. Like this is your injured year. You shouldn't be in there. And that's just the downfall. And to your point with the fan vote, I mean, these guys can vote like a lot of these keyboard warriors can just vote nonstop for their favorite player every single day, like what is it, 10 times a day, 50 times a day, whatever it is. But they can vote that many times, and that's how it works. I think it should be based on the players and the managers. That should hold more weight than the fans, in my opinion.
yeah, I think it brings up an interesting thing because obviously the MLB All-Star Game was the last game to really, doesn't mean anything anymore, but it was the last one to last that long to mean something when it did decide, the World Series. And whether you like that or not, I was a fan, but I get why you wouldn't. Like, I don't want to lose a star player because of the All-Star Game, and I totally understand that side of it. So to me, and I brought this up for the NBA All-Star Game as well, like, why not just like buy into the goofiness? Like if it's already going to be like a half pickup game or like a I guess a quote unquote like half-assed game, like buy into the goofiness. Like I wouldn't say go as far as make it banana ball, which obviously I love, but like do something along the lines of that. Like I've suggested in the NBA All-Star Game, make a 4-pointer and a 5-pointer, like do stuff like that, or make like double points for alley oops or whatever. So for baseball, I don't know, maybe like have like a thing where like, okay, so I play in a pretty competitive wiffle ball league and we had a like thing for our all-star game where shout out Electric City Wiffle Ball. For our all-star game where it was like a wheel and every inning it determined what you did. So like the inning, there was like one inning where it was like opposing team picks one player to pitch. So like they could literally throw anybody out there to be the pitcher. Like they can choose anybody on your team to be the pitcher for that inning. Or like one inning was like big bat. I don't know what it would be for the MLB, but like I don't know. Like if you're gonna not have it matter, which is fine to me, I don't care that it doesn't matter anymore. Like let's just buy into the goofiness at that point, in my
A
opinion.
corked bat home run derby.
A metal bat, like for an inning,
Yeah.
something like that.
Somebody would die. Somebody would
Like
die with a metal bat. Somebody would die. Um, Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think, like the best part of like the All-Star weekends, Pro Bowl weekends, anything like that is usually like when there's celebrity involvement, like the celebrity games. Remember when what was it, MTV Rock and Jock used to have like that 5-point shot and stuff like that you're talking about? I think that's cool. I think that's something that could be. What if the All-Star game came out, like they all get announced, they all get their like recognition and all that, and they played a slow pitch softball game, right? Because like that celebrity softball game that they play sometimes with some of these guys is usually very competitive and it's very fun. It's cool to see. But when you got guys going there, like when you got fans going there, all they want to see is good quality sports. Like that's what they want to watch. So like the home run derby to me, they got to make that a bigger spectacle. And you don't want to ruin the pitcher's arms, right? So like you can't have like a pitcher's contest like you do with the quarterbacks for like a Pro Bowl competition, right?
How about
But there
bunting
has to be,
competition?
yeah, there has to be something you could do. You know what I mean? Like maybe an outfield competition. Who has the better arm? Who has the most accurate arm? Something like that. Catcher, like who has the best pop time that could throw somebody out at second. Some like do a skills competition at that point to make it fun. I would love to see that if I'm in a stands watching an All-Star game to watch that stuff. You know?
Yeah, I love the home run derby, but I think and I get why they did it, but I think one of the biggest mistakes over the last 10 years has been switching from 10 outs to the timer.
The
Like
unlimited. Yeah.
Yep.
there
Yep.
was just something so special about seeing guys like Josh Hamilton and Miguel Tejada just like hit 40 bombs because they got 10 outs. Like, there was something that was just really cool about that. So I don't know, like I kind of agree with you, like I always loved do you remember when we were younger? They do a little bit of it now, but when we were younger, do you remember like the old QB challenge?
Hmm.
Like when they used to have to like run and throw it the farthest, or they did like an
Yep.
accuracy thing. Like there's got to be something we could do for baseball along those lines.
Yeah, you gotta have like a home run derby, a skills challenge, and then do it like football. Just put the actual All-Star game at the end of the year. I know it's a long season, but I don't understand why it's right in the middle of the year when it's crunch time, trade deadline, playoff positions. I don't understand that. Do your fun skills competition, home run derby in the middle of the season. Do the All-Star game later. If you're in the World Series, then don't play, just like NFL.
Or
Yeah. I
even at
mean,
that point, like even if that at that point, just recognize all stars. Don't even play a game. Just do the
Right.
right.
skills competition in the middle of the year and say, "Hey, these are all stars at the halfway point, and these are all pros at the end of the year." And that's that. We're just going to recognize them in that way. Doesn't have to be anything crazy or a game like that at the end of the year.
Yep. Yep. I would agree. I would agree. Because with it not meaning anything, then what's the point of the Phillies wanting Zach Wheeler to pitch an inning in the All-Star game? It's not going to matter for the World Series if they make it there. You know what I mean? It has no bearing on that. So why risk him throwing a bad pitch that hurts his arm and hurts them in the second half?
Yeah.
Why? Like if I'm a baseball fan, I would love to see Paul Skeens pitch a complete game in the All-Star game because the Pirates aren't going to the playoffs, right? So like let's see Paul Skeens mow these guys down in the playoffs. That'd be fantastic. Or in the All-Star game, I mean. But like as a Phillies fan who had like the Phillies still have a shot this year in the playoffs and everything, I don't want to see Zach Wheeler pitch and hurt his arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything. I did used to like it when it meant something because then they were competitive. They actually like there was strategy to it too. You know,
Yeah.
like you have your starter going 3 innings in an All-Star game. That's pretty crazy. But if he's pitching a gem, you do it. You know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting, but I think it's probably a good time for us to move on. We have some pretty I wouldn't call it monumentous, but we're in the summer, we're getting through different topics. We were going to talk about tennis, but Trey said he didn't know the difference between a deuce and a deuce in real life. So we couldn't really determine those. So we're going to move on to some NBA free agency. I know we didn't get that much time to talk about it last week. Not super a lot of movement from what I know, but we have seen some big deals get inked. We saw both Jalen Williams and Paolo Banchero sign huge max deals over the last week. SGA extension too, or no, right?
Yep.
Think so,
For
Yep.
right?
sure. Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, those are three, very young stars in the NBA. Um, I don't know how you guys feel, and obviously, like being a Boston fan, I have some mixed feelings. But you guys are both Sixer fans. Like, do you think the Magic can take the next step? Like, is this what they kind of people say they overpaid for Bane? But I mean, what do you think along that end?
I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, let's be honest. Topher's Knicks did it. Why can't the Magic? I mean, it's kind of the same realm, although they didn't. I guess Knicks didn't really bring their up and coming players with them. They traded for everybody, but I mean, the Knicks turning around pretty quickly. I wouldn't see why the Magic couldn't. I don't. I definitely think they got better this offseason.
Yeah, I think the Magic are definitely going to take that next step, and it's the perfect year to do it. Because I think the East is going to be a little down, right? With Tatum being out for 3/4 of the year, with Halliburton being out for 3/4 of the year.
They said
So
Halliburton ain't playing this year.
Yeah, the
he
whole yeah.
probably won't. Yeah, he probably
Yeah,
won't. And why would you? Why would you rush him back? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the Magic are easily a top 4 team in the East, if not top 3, as it stands right this second. So I definitely see them taking the next step. And once you get in the playoffs, we saw anything can happen. I mean, because the Pacers were a 500 team or below 500 team at Christmas, and they made the finals. So, I think the Magic can definitely be the 2025, 2026 version of the Pacers, taking that next step because they do have nice young talent and bringing in Bane, I think that gives them a little bit of toughness that they kind of lack this year.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Orlando is, I'm not ready to crown them. Like, I do think that the Knicks are at today, July, what is it, 9th, 8th, whatever it is. Like, they are the cream of the crop in the East right now, with Halliburton going down, with Boston being hurt. Like, they are the guys right now. I'm not saying that will stand till next year, but as of right now, until proven otherwise, they look like the team to be beat. And I think it's interesting because Cleveland had such a disappointing playoff run this year that, like, they're obviously going to factor in. Orlando's going to factor in. Who knows what's going to happen with Giannis at this point? Like, they go out and sign Miles Turner, but then they buy out Dame.
it
Like,
makes no sense.
like, so the East is just super interesting. And I don't know. I mean, it's weird because, like, does Boston put themselves in a position where they're a top 3 seed without Tatum and they bring him back? Or is it like, hey, settle down? So I guess there's just some definitely interesting moving parts in the East, in my opinion.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, the thing with Cleveland, I mean, we talked about it back in March. It looked like it was going to be a Cleveland OKC final because Cleveland was dominating and it just didn't seem like they were going to slow down. And then the injury bug got them, like some of their stars. Garland went down with an injury, and it was just like a nagging one that he just couldn't come back from. Right. So
Yeah, they
if
got
they're
hit at the
healthy,
worst time.
exactly. And that's the thing, right? So like maybe they learn from this and they can prepare for that next year. Maybe they don't. And that's that, again, that's primed and ready for the Magic to take that next step. And look, I know it's like beating a dead horse at this point, but we'll see what the Sixers do with Embiid. You know what I mean? If Embiid can somehow play 40 games, they're a competitive team at that point. I think they're going to be a competitive team whether he plays 40 games or not because I like what I see out of Edgecombe so far in the summer league. And with McCain coming back, Maxey, they got some talent, man. They really do. So I'm anxious to see how they play. I can see them making a playoff run, but probably at like a 7 seed, 6 seed at the highest. I don't see them going any higher than that unless we get 2022 Embiid back, which I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and I think there's some chess pieces that have yet to move, in my opinion. Like, I hear that Phoenix is going to buy out Bradley Beal or looking to move Bradley Beal. So if he ends up back in the East, like, you just don't know. And then, the West, is just tough. It's just like literally just tough across the board. The Lakers signed Capella, right? Last
Yeah.
week. So they get Capella, which is a big man they've been dying for. You'd have to think that Houston with Kevin Durant takes a huge step in year 2 with Sengun and everything like that. And then
That was a huge trade.
huge.
That was ginormous. The first
7
7-team
teams.
trade.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then he found out at Fanatics Fest. I wasn't there. I was there on
Yeah.
Saturday, but on Sunday he was on stage doing like a live show with somebody, and he got traded in the middle of the
Yeah.
show. And somebody in the crowd is like, "Hey, Kevin, you're going to Houston." Like, was
Yeah.
like, "What?" Like,
That's crazy that like in this day and age, that's how a professional athlete found out he got traded. You know what I mean? Like you don't have somebody there like a publicist or anything that can just pull you aside for 10 seconds, but like that's the way things break now, man, with people having their phones everywhere they go. Somebody else gets a Twitter reaction or breaking news before the athlete does. It's just nuts.
It's
the
not like he
scariest.
didn't know though. Like
Yeah, I'm sure he
I'm
knew.
sure he knew for weeks he was going to. That
You
was
could
the
tell,
deal.
yeah, you could tell with his reaction that he knew that something was in the works, and he was just waiting on confirmation. You know what I mean?
You know what the craziest part about the West is that Oklahoma City can package multiple first rounders for a Giannis, a Booker. Like imagine if Phoenix is blowing up, I'd have to think Booker's out of there.
Didn't he just
Like,
resign? I think he just signed an extension.
yeah, but if you're Phoenix and OKC says here's 5 unprotected firsts for Devin
Right.
Booker,
See ya.
like
Well, the sad part is, well, it's not sad. It's sad for the rest of the NBA. But the great part about OKC, they can do that and still have picks because they got so many. So like they could package those 5 first round picks, and they're still not sacrificing all of their draft capital because they have so many picks in the next like 8 years. It's
and be
ridiculous.
under the second apron because
Yes.
the only guys that they're paying are Williams, SGA, and Hartenstein.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna let Caruso walk in a year, like not because they don't like him, but just they're gonna keep reloading with picks. They're probably letting Caruso walk in a year. Like there's guys that they're gonna piece here and there. Like they're like I know we've had 7 different champions in 7 different years, and the West is the West, but like
If they can stay
I mean
healthy. Yeah. If they can stay healthy, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And then did
Any
you guys?
NFL you want to touch on, Trey?
Ooh, I got one more NBA.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
I just saw it on Twitter or on X, whatever you call it, before we hopped on here. That I don't know if it's true or not. That Joker said he's not signing an extension this offseason with Denver. That to me is outrageous. How would you not want to sign a big time extension this year?
I think
If
that
you see all the money that's going around, be like, all right, I think I can get this amount. Like, how do you not do that?
I think this is a hot take when I say that I legitimately think that he probably retires at the end of this contract.
How many
Like,
more years he have?
I think it's only 2 or 3.
He's miserable.
Like,
You can see
he
it. Yeah.
he do you remember after they won the title and they were like, "Are you excited for the parade on Tuesday?" And he's like, "No, I want to go home and watch my horses."
No, I
Right?
don't.
Yep.
I
Like
don't. I don't remember
literally
that.
after they literally won the NBA title and they were like, "We can't wait to see you at the parade on Tuesday." He's like, "I have to stay in the United States till Tuesday."
Oh
Like
Yeah.
he's like,
He was
God.
pissed.
"I just
He
want to
was
go
miserable.
home." Like
Yep. Yep.
legitimately, I
Yep.
think he could retire. Like, not that he can't play, but he just, it seems like he's one of those players that, like, if you put Kobe Bryant's mind in Nikola Jokic, like, he probably would have been the best basketball player to ever. He's still probably, and I'll say this, that there are some others, there's different centers, like, obviously, like, Shaq and Hakeem are great, but, like, in my lifetime, and him and Shaq are 2 very different players. Like, Nikola Jokic may be the best big man we've ever seen with his passing and shooting, just overall. Obviously, 20 years ago, you wouldn't say that because you have guys like Shaq that have much different skill sets than Nikola Jokic. But in today's game, it's going to be a long time before we see a center like Nikola Jokic
He's
again.
like a combo of all of them, right? Like he has Sabonis's passing, he has Hakeem's like footwork and just sheer shooting ability, and then he has Shaq's like dominance inside and like just massiveness. So like he's very skilled, and he's a combo of like the greatest centers of all time meshed into one, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
he
crazy.
definitely looks like he's disinterested. Like he's just like, I want to go home and watch horse racing. Like that's what he wants to do. It's
Yeah.
just
And how
it's
how much of
insane.
it? How much of it could be you fired Mike Malone?
I think it's a little bit, but I think that he
How'd he go?
was.
How'd he go?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, my thing's my bad.
Thought we were seeing Jesus.
You're good. You saw the pipes and the spider webs.
We did. We did.
I think part of it might be that, but I think more so it's like, I know people say that it's not what it used to be, and I agree with that, but let's not act like the NBA still isn't a grind to get to the top. It's 82 games, it's, all this stuff plus playoffs. You got to win 16 games, Oh, I have something I'll bring up after this instead of NFL. That'll be a good talk for us. But I don't necessarily know if it's Mike Malone more so. It's just like, I don't think he loves basketball. I think he's great at basketball. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player. I think he's one of the people say this about the younger generation. He views basketball as a job, not as something that he's in love with. Maybe he is. I'm not Nikola Jokic, but that's at least the way I see it from the outside.
Right. No, I get
I
that.
think I think it's the same with Luca. I think Luca could be grouped into that same category. I
It's a
think if
good
Luca
point.
had the mindset and the heart that Kobe did, Luca could have been like he still can, but I mean, I think he sacrificed the last like 3 years of his career because he came in out of shape and didn't care. I think Joel Embiid could be fitted into that category where if he put in more effort, he could have been much better than what he actually was, And it's a shame when you don't want to call it wasted talent because I mean he's a 3-time MVP. You know what I mean? So like it's not he's an NBA champion. It's not a waste of talent. Just think about the potential of how much better he could have been. If he put in that effort, it's crazy.
So instead of the NFL, because I think this will be a better conversation for the three of us before we get to Clash and Draft, somebody brought up this question on X the other day. I'll tell you my opinion. Give me yours. What is the hardest championship to win out of the four sports? In my opinion, it is hands down the Stanley Cup. Like, in my opinion, it's the Stanley Cup. You have to play 82 hockey games. You probably have to win 50 or 60 of them. You got to win 16 playoff hockey games to win a Stanley Cup. To me, and hockey, I played rugby my whole life. There's nothing like hockey on your body. There's nothing like hockey on your body. Now, so for me, in my order would be Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, World Series, NBA championship would be my order. Let me know what you think.
I'm with you, except for the bottom two. I'd flip them. I would go NBA championship, then World Series. But I'm actually surprised you said Stanley Cup. I thought I was going to be the only one who say that. That's such a grind all year long. Your body just takes a toll, and it's just playoff hockey's different. We even got Corey watching it, playoff hockey. That says something. He hates hockey.
I agree with your order, Patty. I definitely think hockey because their playoffs they play 7 game series from round one all the way through. The only sport that does it, right?
And no buys. They have no
And no
buys.
buys,
Yeah.
correct. So like nobody gets a free pass. Nobody like yeah, you have home ice advantage. That's the only advantage you have. And in today's hockey, that doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? But yeah, Trey, I get you with the NBA thing, but 162 games for baseball and then the playoffs. I mean, the the reason why I feel like and I'm a baseball guy, so like I understand it from the standpoint of there's a lot of strategy and a lot of like mental stuff that goes into that to make sure that your team is ready come playoff time. You know what I mean? Because like you have so many pitching bodies that you have to take care of. So like basketball, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not tough either because the NBA playoffs are just like that's like a mini season in its own right with how long they draw that out. So like you have to be there. But yeah, the toll it takes on your body, I definitely put hockey and then the NFL. And then you could argue the last two. You could swap them either way and probably have a valid argument either way.
Yeah,
These would be my. We'll go Trey.
I'm just saying basketball because the physicality of it, and like we were just talking about, let's say you're an Embiid-less Sixers playing the Nuggets. Who the hell is going to guard Joker? Who try to figure out that matchup? Like I think playoff basketball could be a matchup nightmare for people. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could say the same for baseball, but get a couple hits here and there, play a little small ball, you're in the game. If you don't have an answer for a big name scorer in the NBA, you're toast.
Yeah, these would be my 2 points is this. One, the Super Bowl is close because it's one game and the pressure of one game, and you only get one shot. Some guys never make it there in their career. 100%, that's why I put it at 2. And obviously, football is a very physical sport. The reason I put baseball over basketball slightly is this. Baseball playoffs and World Series are outdoor. You can't control the weather. You can't control all these other factors. You might be a cold weather team playing. You might be the Yankees and you got to play in LA, or LA who's got to play in New York in October. Like, those are factors that I don't think the NBA has because it's the same court no matter what. Yes, there's home court advantage and stuff like that, but it's the same court no matter where you go. There's nothing changing. So that's why baseball gets the slight nod, but I totally understand the physicality aspect of the NBA over the MLB for sure.
I get that.
Great
All right.
question. I like that.
Sounds like it is graphic time. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, gentlemen, we are back. Week 2 Clash and Draft. First round of applause for Kyle Montgomery for winning the Instagram polls last week. Check out my PE page, the Coach Bailey PE. We put the polls up there last week, and my personal page. Hopefully, Steven can get a poll up on the network page this week, but I know that might be a little technically challenging for him, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I can't
To-do
see his
list.
face, so I was really trying to get his reaction, but he's kind of like, Steve, can you just slide left for me so I can see if you're smiling or not? No, your other left. Sorry. Perfect. Okay, good. So, Kyle won. It was close. Trey was second. I was third. Paul only got votes from his son. So,
We just wanted to point out that Paul took some PTO this week, so he's celebrating the 4th with PTO. That's why he's not
We
here.
all celebrated the 4th with our PTO.
we did celebrate with our PTO. So, this week, a few changes. Topic will change each week, but also the second change is this. Since there's 3 of us, we're going to go with 4 rounds, give you a little more in-depth pieces to take care of. This week, our topic is nicknames in sports. Doesn't have to, it'll be any sport, anytime. You could technically, somebody said about Babe Ruth in the chat who had 3 nicknames. Technically, all 3 could get picked in this draft. I don't think that they will. You don't have to have, you could pick 4 baseball, you could pick 4 football. You don't have to have a specific from each sport. Kyle, as our winner last week, has chosen the order of Trey because he believes he will mess it up again in the first spot, with himself second,
Watch
and
this.
myself going third. So Trey, week 2, Clash and Draft, round 1. We're heading to you.
With the first pick in the second week draft, I'm going to select the GOAT Air Jordan.
It's a good one. It was on my list.
That's a good one.
Kyle,
I would
That's a
hope
good
so.
one.
Did I redeem myself even though I
that's a
just took
good
second
pick.
place with PTO?
Well,
It's a good pick.
we'll see. We'll see how your other 3 turn out. But yeah,
That's fair.
That's a solid number 1 pick.
Thank
I'll
you.
give you that. I'm gonna go with good old Eldrick Tiger Woods.
To be fair, I didn't even think about that because, like, it doesn't even register to me as a nickname. But
That is not his name.
that's such a good one. I'm very upset at you right now. That's so good. I got a back to back here. I'm gonna start with what I think is the best nickname in sport history. Maybe it doesn't have the iconic level of these other 2, but I'm going with Sir Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound, baby. The
Had it
round
written
mound of
down. I thought
rebound.
I was going to
You
sneak
get
that. Son of a
you get
gun.
a bonus point for that because you
And
said
don't
Sir
think I don't know
Charles.
that all you Philly voters are part of this. So don't think I don't
No,
know
well
that.
done. Well done.
I just
And
had to
look,
cross that
secondly,
you
off
get
my
extra credit.
list.
You get
Secondly, for
extra credit
my turn pick, I'll be moving out of the way. The bus, Jerome Bettis,
Solid. That's
second
solid.
pick overall. Back to you, Kyle.
I'm gonna go with Irving Magic Johnson.
Good one. Very good. Trey, you get 2 here. 2 and 3 picks here.
Give me prime time. Dion. Give me that.
You're catering to the producer. That's a little sucking up there, but we'll
Hey,
allow it.
play to win the game.
2 in a row. You sucked up to the producer, but we'll give it to you.
And then give me the kid, Griffey Jr.
Okay. All right.
Nice. He was on my list. Kyle,
All
number
right.
3 to you.
I got a couple good ones, couple solid ones here. I'm gonna tee one up for you though, Patty. I'll let you take the next one because I know it's probably on the tip of your tongue. I'm gonna go with the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
It was not my next one.
No, that's not
That
the
was
one.
my
I took
next
this
one.
but let me see if you take this one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make a decision on my round. I'm on number 3 on my list. I'm gonna take number 3, but then I have 4 and 5. I don't know what I'm gonna go with. So I'll get this out of the way. My third selection, Megatron.
That's solid. Yep.
That was on my list.
Megatron doesn't even go by Calvin Johnson anymore. Megatron. Oh, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you who I want. I'll come back to it at the end because I really would have liked to pick these other 2 people. But I think if I'm going with what I think the fans will go and what I think is the most iconic, we'll be going with the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant.
There you go. Solid.
Kyle, your final pick?
So my Philly fans are probably going to hate me for not going with this, but I'll leave Trey to you. Trey, you better come through and take who I think you're going to take, but I can't leave this one on the board. I can't leave it on the board. Big Papi, David Ortiz. You can't leave that one on the board.
Number 4.
You can't leave it. You can't leave it on the board.
That was number 4 on my baseball.
You cannot leave it on the board.
Son of a gun.
I was number 4 on my big board, and I went with Kobe at 6.
Yep.
Trey?
All right. Give
Wrap
me
us up.
the answer. AI.
My God. You didn't even take Weapon X?
Oh, that's a good one too.
Ugh.
All right, what are
I
some
teed it
honor-
up for you.
so that's the end of our draft for everyone listening. But we got a couple minutes here before we got to wrap up. We'll go through some honorable mentions. So here's 2 that I had on my. I basically went with a list of 7. The 2 that I had that didn't get named were the Big Fundamental for Timmy D and the Big Unit for Randy Johnson.
I have that one written down.
So I had obviously I had Weapon X. And then I had another Philly legend with the best nickname that wasn't mentioned, Chocolate Thunder, Daryl Dawkins. And then one of my personal favorites, and shout out to my brother because he was a huge fan of this guy, the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Smith. Great
Awesome.
nickname.
That's
great nickname, great player, and that rounded out my list right there.
I had 4 that were still on my list. I had Shoeless Joe Jackson. I had Gunslinger Brett Favre. Beast Mode Marshawn Lynch.
Solid,
and
solid.
the Minister of Defense Reggie White.
Love
I
that.
can't believe I didn't take that one.
The other one that
I can't believe you didn't either.
The other one I had was the Say Hey Kid for Willie Mays as well. I was thinking about going him.
Yeah, that's solid. That's good.
All right, there was a little less fisticuffs here at the end, so it means we're getting more civil. Must be the Paul effect, but
100%.
Gentlemen, we thank you. We thank our sponsors. We thank Sparrow. We thank Lotwin. We thank Jim. We thank everyone of you that are listeners. Please come join us. This is awesome. It's a great experience. It really is like a family. And even though Topher and I fight like brothers sometimes, I promise that we love each other and we all love each other here. And have a great night. We love you. Come join us. We're a network for the people, of the people, by the people. Peace out.
Vote for Pedro.
Boom, boom, boom.